If you have a hard time with boundaries, how might your life be different if you could say no as easily as a joyful yes? I'm Love Coach Mariya, and for over a decade now, I've been encouraging folks to empower their compassion so it's big enough for ourselves as well as others, and so our boundaries can become healthier than ever. You're listening to Empower Your Compassion, and on this show, we'll be unlocking transformative insights to help you reconnect to your true yes, so you can say no from that more expansive energy and get more of what you want in your relationships and your life without sacrificing your compassion. Are you ready for more love? Let's grow. Hello, friends. I'm delighted to welcome my colleague Laura Flowers today. She is a life coach, a Reiki Master, and a school psychologist who spent nearly 2 decades supporting others through life's challenges. She's also the host of her own podcast called Rediscovering You, where she shares stories and tools to inspire others to reconnect with their authentic selves. And today we're going to talk about how our intuition can help us with developing healthy boundaries. Let's get into it. Thank you, Laura, so much for joining me today. I understand that you are a school psychologist. Will you tell us more about that?
Sure. So I wear many hats right now. One of them is being a school psychologist. I went into the field of school psychology 19 years ago now. It's hard to believe that this much time has gone by, but for a long time, that role has been very fulfilling for me. It's been work that's been so meaningful. I've always, my whole life, been drawn to helping others, particularly those that struggle with mental health. So I love that role as a school psychologist. But as I said, I also wear other hats too. I'm also a Reiki Master and a life coach, which came into my life more recently.
That's so wonderful. And that's how we came into knowing each other, through our coaching community. So happy for that. When we were talking the other day, we kind of landed on the subject of intuition.
Mhm.
And because my focus is more specifically on boundaries and the idea that your intuition can really help you feel into where your limits are. I know that for me, when I was a younger adult, still kind of learning my body and my mind and myself, and people would say things like, follow your heart, listen to your mind, listen to your gut. And I'm like, I don't know which is which. Like, I definitely have all of these voices or influences, but I don't know which is which. And it took me a while. Now I have a clear understanding, but um, how would you describe sort of, I guess, the process of coming into your intuition and getting in touch
Mhm.
with it and learning how to listen to it?
Absolutely. I think I'm going to tie it into a personal story of my own. Doing my work as a school psychologist for so many years. In the beginning, my career, as I mentioned, was extremely rewarding, very meaningful to me, and it brought me so much joy. But as the job went on over the years, things began to change in smaller ways. My caseload kept growing more. I had to be responding to crisis after crisis after crisis, paperwork stacks growing, 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 and there's only one of me in the school. So I started having like these little thoughts in my head that would crop up, like, I don't know if I'm meant to be doing this forever. This doesn't feel right with me. And I would have like that gut feeling more days than not that something was off. It was hard to put into words. The fatigue at the end of the day was becoming more and more. And like these are physical signs that are very closely tied to our intuition, trying to show up for us, trying to point us in a direction that is more in alignment. I started having more thoughts too about like, I really want to be able to help and support other people more on my terms and not just within the confines of a public education system. But I can't do that. And then I kept telling myself, no, 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 I can't do that. I'm too far deep in this career. There's nothing else for me out there. Um, but the voice didn't go away. The gut feeling never went away. The unease didn't go away. And so I began to think that maybe there was something a little bit more that I needed to look at, but I wasn't really ready to take action on anything yet. But sometimes like the universe gives us like this flashing neon sign if we don't pay attention to our intuition that we actually really need to do something and tune in. So for me, it was something really big. It was an unfortunate situation where one of my students that I work very closely with was highly dysregulated and actually physically assaulted me, which required that I needed to take a significant portion of time off of work to heal, recover, and be ready to go back and serve in the school. So I wouldn't wish anything like that for anybody, but for me, that forced a pause. It forced me to stop. It forced me to really take time to tune in and look at my intuition more directly and see what it was asking me to do. And one of the happy side effects of that unfortunate situation is that I had the time and the space to be able to really lean into it and follow the direction that it was sending me in.
Yeah, it's funny. I worked with another coach who used to say, life will whisper
Hmm.
to you. And if you don't hear that, it'll tap you on the shoulder.
Hmm.
And if you don't hear that, it will ram through your life with a Mack truck.
Hmm. It's so true. Yes. And so another one of the benefits of this is that it has taught me and empowered me to not wait for that Mack truck anymore. When I know my intuition is showing up, I take it seriously now and I tune into it. And I've gotten so much better at trusting myself and knowing, because there are always whispers, there are always nudges, there are always signs. But part of my personal growth and what I like to help the women that I coach is to be able to understand when your intuition is showing up, how it is showing up, and how to honor that and to trust yourself. And a lot of times, I know you focus so heavily on boundaries. A lot of times, your intuition and that unease or that whisper shows up because maybe you haven't set a boundary that needs to be put in place, either by yourself or for other people. And so that's something that's really important.
Absolutely. Something else related that I find interesting is kind of teasing out. I've had several clients ask me, like, how do I know? So, not just, is it the mind telling me stories? Is it, my heart getting a little carried away? Or is it actually, my intuition? Like, in addition to that, there's also an element that I get asked about a lot, which is like, how do I know if this is actually my trauma? And like, is what I'm feeling in my body a fear that's preventing me from moving into something healthy and beneficial?
Hmm. Hmm.
Or is it actual signs of like danger? And typically my answer, without getting into full detail of it, but just want to throw a caveat that one thing I've definitely clarified is, if it's your trauma, if something's activating your trauma, don't push yourself through it. Like, maybe it's something to heal through, like gently and gradually, but there's no need to re-traumatize yourself by forcing yourself into a situation, even if it's better for you on the other side. If
Hmm.
you're
Hmm.
having a trauma response, like,
Yeah.
take that gently. But yeah, what is your response to that sort of question of like, well, how do I know if what I'm feeling is gonna serve me to listen to, or if it's something that I should maybe push through?
So when you're faced at a crossroads or when you're making a decision and you're trying to step into, is this my intuition and should I be tuning into it right now? I invite my clients to really play out the scenario in their head for either way. Like if you're to
Hmm.
go left here or right there.
Mhm.
If you choose to go left, and this could be any choice, any decision, do you notice a sense of heaviness? Do you notice a sense of contraction? Do you notice a sense of dread? Do you notice a knot in your stomach? That's your intuition. If you choose to go the other direction and you feel a wave of relief, you feel a sense of lightness, you feel a sense of happiness or joy, and it shows up differently for every individual. That's your intuition telling you that that's the direction you should go into. And so when you ask the question about, is this a trauma response or is this something that I should really push myself through? I would invite you to see yourself completely on the other side of the decision, whatever it is. Imagine and visualize yourself having already done the thing. And if you feel at peace seeing that vision and you feel good and whole and light, then I would say that is your intuition saying that's what you need to be doing right now. But if you feel the opposite, if you feel a sense of defeat, dread, darkness, tightness, then I would say I would argue then listen to that, and that's the truth. And that's part of learning to trust yourself as well, trusting that inner wisdom that we all have. And so many of us doubt it or question it or rationalize it. It is there for a reason. It will not point you in the wrong direction. And that I can promise you, your intuition will never put you in harm's way.
Sure. And certain trauma responses can, however, kind of put us in harm's way sometimes, in the sense of, like, for example, if you have a fawning response and you continue to fall back into an abusive relationship, like
Hmm.
those types of, like, it's like, oh, I think I probably should go, but I feel like it's safer to stay. Like, that's where I feel like things can kind of get a little bit tricky. But I love your distinction of, don't just imagine going through the scary part, imagine being on the other side of it. I think that that's a really telling thing. Like, if you see yourself in the same situation 6 months from now, how do you feel? Is it dread, right? Or if you see
Yeah.
yourself, like, you've gone through the scary of maybe leaving the situation, for example,
Yeah.
how do you feel on the other side of that? Does that feel like relief? Then maybe that's something, a bit of a fear that we're going to encourage you to work your way through safely.
Right, absolutely. And I think like part of the self-trust is knowing when you're being triggered. You brought up the example of fawning. I think that if you have the self-awareness, and this takes time and this takes trust to build, but to realize, oh, I'm stepping into fawning or I'm stepping into my fight or flight response or whatever it is. If we have that awareness, we're often able to put a pause. And this is something I feel so strongly about, is like, make a pause before saying yes or before making a decision. Check in with your body, check in with how it feels, check in with any of the sensations. And this is also a way to set beautiful, healthy boundaries for yourself. And anything is that don't just say yes right away. Like, give yourself, you could say to the other person, give me a minute to think about this, or I'll get back to you tomorrow. I don't have the bandwidth to consider that right now. Whatever verbiage you want to use, give yourself a pause to tune into yourself and take the time to check in with yourself and see what kind of a reaction am I having to this situation or the decision that I'm being presented with.
Absolutely. That pause is so powerful. I
Mm.
find that a lot of, like, people pleasing patterns are effectively like conditioning that leaves us as, like, a reflexive yeser, in a way. Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
when there's this outside advice about boundaries, that's, like, don't say yes when you're a no, but it's hard to know what you're a yes or a no to when you're already a reflexive yes to almost any requester, because
Yeah.
you have, like, taught yourself that, other people being okay is how you can be okay.
Hmm.
And so people are like, hey, can you? And you're like, yeah, what do you need?
Yeah, you're
It's
saying
like,
yes before you even heard the full request.
yeah, exactly. Like, you're just sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that showed up a lot for me in my work life, which I've gotten so much better at now. Because as a school psychologist, you are expected to say yes all day, every day to everybody, the students, the parents, the committees, the do this, do that. Yes, yes, yes. And for a long time, I did that because I thought this is what it means to be a good worker, and I want to help everybody, and I'm a kind person, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then realize I'm like, oh, I'm saying yes to everything and it's taking a toll on me and this isn't healthy for me. And so I started testing out in like really low stakes scenarios, saying no to things. And I would give that advice to people as well. If you're a reflexive yeser, do some low stakes no's and see how it feels, like, so for me, Laura, can you come to this last minute meeting? I know it wasn't in your schedule, but we really want you there. Actually, no, I already have allotted my time for this and I can't do that today. And that would like that sounds so simple, but it's something that for the longest time I never would have even considered doing. But like I did that and I'm like, oh, I feel really good. Like that felt good to say no and to like honor what was important to me and what I had already decided for myself. And the world didn't stop. It
Isn't
did.
that amazing?
Yeah.
I have like a touchstone I keep in my pocket. There was an instance of a job that I had. I guess for a little bit of context, I worked for like a franchise chain on and off over years. Sometimes that was just kind of like a fallback job I would go to on occasion. And one time I returned to that job, it was actually a different franchise owner that I had, applied for. And I interviewed with the like regional manager because
Mhm.
that owner owned multiple locations. And she was like, well, we have a new location, but it's kind of also a new sort of arrangement because it's like a partnership with a related business. And it's also in like a really tricky location that's going to, it could be a little bit challenging. And because you're experienced, do you mind if I put you there, if we start there? And I'm like, okay, sure. 3 days in, was it three, maybe two? They were long days, lots of chaos, and the management was crazy. And it was just like you never really know what your week is going to look like. It was like I found out my next shift by the end of the current one. And there was just like I can't even I at that point hadn't really learned yet how to kind of have and maintain and nurture healthy boundaries, but I was at least aware that that was an issue and that I didn't have great boundaries yet.
Hmm.
And I could very quickly see that that job was going to trample me, that I was going to
Yeah.
say that there was going to be way too much asked of me and I was going to say yes to all of it. And I never have done something like this before or after, but I'm very much generally preferring to leave like a 2 week notice, stick around
Hmm.
for a nice,
Hmm.
helpful transition. And after my second or third day, I knew that I was going to have the next day off. And on that day off, I was going to be told when my next shift was going to be. And so on that day off, I was just like, man, this is nuts. And the local manager reached out and told me about my next shift. And I was just like, no, I'm not
Yeah.
coming back.
Just no.
And yeah. And then I told the regional manager, I was like, I'm sorry, I can't do it. And that was really hard for me. For me, I felt like I was quitting.
Yeah.
But she was like, oh, no problem. Thanks so much for trying it out. We'll just put you at a different location. I was like, what?
Right.
What? I can state a boundary and like not lose everything? Wow, how fancy
Yeah.
is that?
You have to like unlearn all this stuff that we just assume is going to happen, but it's not. You test out the boundary, you test it out, and you're like, oh, wait, yes, I'm still being respected as an individual and honored, and the world didn't come crashing down. It's okay.
Yes. And fortunately, I was already prepared for that, but it was
Yeah.
quite a delight that I didn't have to face that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I bet that since you've done that and you realize like, oh, like this actually worked out really to my advantage and I feel better. Like it just, I feel like those you trying it out and doing the things enables you to put up boundaries when you're noticing that you need to more confidently. And there might always be some level of fear, but it probably gets like I know for me anyways, it's less and less and less of the fear of knowing that if I'm honoring what is a healthy boundary that it's I'm doing the right thing and things will work out in the way that they're supposed to work out.
Mhm. I like to say the volume gets turned down on
Yeah,
the fear and the stories. And
this is true.
yeah,
It's a good analogy. Hmm.
yeah. A recent boundary was also job related. I was able to give a little bit more notice. But what was a little bit different about this one was I had already stated a boundary about a particular thing that I didn't even like filling in for this role that wasn't really a part of mine. And then like 2 weeks later, I was told, hey, by the way, this role is now going to be yours on top of
Mm,
everything else, and but you're going to do all of it. And I mean, it took me a couple hours of kind of wrestling and going back and forth and, considering the outcomes of either decision. And there were several factors that influenced my decision to submit my resignation. But I think the biggest one was I heard my voice that I have said to clients in coaching about the importance of being consistent and honoring your boundaries for building self-trust. And
mhm.
I have spent so much time and energy over the past few years laying brick by brick a foundation of self-trust. And I was like, if I don't honor this boundary that I had already stated, not just to them, but to myself, I will erode my self-trust. And that to me is more important than like I can figure out the job situation, but I can't sacrifice my self-trust.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Self-trust is so crucial in life. And that's why going back to intuition, learning to trust that your intuition is pointing you in the correct direction is so important. And to know that you need to honor your yes, whatever it is. And like for me, stepping into when I had that time off of work to really do a lot of introspection, stepping into what is important to me, it opened up doors in that I said yes to myself for things that I had said no to for so many years. Like I said yes to investing in myself. I said yes to becoming a certified Reiki Master. I said yes to educating myself into becoming a life coach. I said yes to starting my business and actually opening up the doors to help other people through their own personal journeys. And it's just like I'm so happy that I'm in this space right now, but also I'm so sad that I spent so many years thinking that I had to say yes to others and no to myself. Because I thought it would be selfish of me. I thought that I would be letting other people down. But it's actually quite the opposite. Like in saying yes to myself and starting this and doing the scary thing that I never thought I could do, um, it's building trust in myself because, as I said earlier, I feel more expansive. I feel light. I feel happy. I feel joyful. I don't have dread anymore. I don't have that heavy feeling. I even feel physically healthier. It's just incredible because I'm honoring what I was meant to be doing all along, and I'm not hurting anybody or letting anybody down. I'm actually helping more people than I ever thought was possible. Um, so yeah, trust yourself. You got to trust yourself and listen to that voice because I think we all have just limitless potential and possibilities and life, we're given this life. Who knows how long we're going to be here for it. If there's something that you're feeling pulled or called to do or to stop doing, try it out. Try it out.
Right?
Yeah.
And I find that every no has a yes behind it. If
Mhm.
I'm a no to going out tonight, it's because I'm a yes to staying in.
Yeah.
And also every yes kind of is like a no to everything else.
Right.
So I'm curious, when you started saying yes to yourself, what were some of the no's that you had to say along the way? But before you answer that, I also want to take a quick opportunity for you to give a little plug about you have an upcoming event happening and you also have coaching services and your own podcast. So tell us more about that before we get
Yeah.
back
Oh,
to
thank
this
you for
story.
that question. So yes, I also host a podcast called Rediscovering You, which is all about empowering people to step into the most authentic and aligned versions of themselves because we can rediscover who we are at any point in time in our lives. You're never too old. It's never too late. So I love hosting that podcast to share stories with others. I do have my own coaching practice. I'm deeply inspired to help women, particularly that are feeling like they're in some sort of a crossroad or feeling that nudge or that pull towards something and needing some help and guidance along the way in order to create a life that they're really excited about. And coaching is such a cool tool because a lot of change can happen really fast with focused, forward-thinking coaching sessions. And another thing I'm really excited to share is that I'm hosting an upcoming fall retreat in gorgeous Brattleboro, Vermont. It's going to be in October during peak fall foliage in Vermont. So if you've never seen this part of the country in fall time, particularly, it's amazing. We're going to be doing yoga. We're going to have Reiki. We're going to have healing circles. We're going to have delicious plant-based food to support us the entire time. It's just a chance to really connect and have sisterhood as well. So that's a weekend, October 18th through 20th in Vermont. There are some spots available if anybody listening is feeling intrigued and wanting to check it out. I'd love to see you there.
Where would be a good place for people to look into it if they're interested?
So you can go to my website, lauraflowersllc.com. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram. I have a lot of information on social media about the retreat that's coming up, and I'm happy to share details on room availability. My Instagram is laurajane23, and my Facebook is Laura Flowers LLC.
Great. And I'll make sure that's all listed in the show notes as well.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for that. So again, with yeses and nos kind of being two sides of the same coin,
Mhm.
and I just want to sort of paint this picture for our listeners, but like as you started saying yes to yourself, just again for a more comprehensive view, like what were some of the things that you had to say no to in order to serve those yeses?
Okay, there's a lot. And I love this question because it is. You are, when you say yes to something, you're having to say no to something else. So, in support of my coaching practice, I am fortunate enough to have wonderful clients that I work with outside of the school day because I still am employed by a public education system. So, my no is no, I will not be able to attend that after school meeting. No, I can't do this after school commitment because I'm saying yes to, I'm showing up for my business. I'm showing up for, my business, which is my baby that I love and I've created. And I need to pour my love and attention into it. Some of my no's are a little bit harder. Like that was an easy no. Like, no, I don't want to do my after school commitment. But some of the no's are a little more tricky. Like, no, I can't watch this family movie tonight because I'm going to class for my Reiki. So sometimes it's not all rainbows and sunshine. I don't want to paint a picture that that's what it is. Sometimes you don't get to do everything, but you need to decide where your heart is pulling you. And I can tell you that from my family's perspective, when they see me saying yes to myself and doing these things, they're not angry at me and they don't think I'm a horrible mom or less than. They're actually like really inspired and proud of me and think it's quite cool that I'm doing these things. So yes, I love the question that a yes is also a no. Um, it's a really good way to frame it and to look at it. And some of it is saying a no to myself, though, too. And I think like we think about boundaries as only affecting other people, but it's also ourselves. So when I'm saying a yes to, I'm going to go to the Reiki center and I'm going to give somebody a Reiki session this evening. I'm saying a no to staying at home, putting on my PJs and, just reading a book.
Yep.
So you can't, sometimes you're saying no to yourself and you're creating a boundary for yourself. Like, no, I can't do that right now. I'm not available for that because I'm showing up and I'm saying yes to this other part of me that I'm feeling more pulled to, more drawn to.
Yeah. I find I often have to like negotiate with my inner child about certain things and have boundaries with myself. And it's like, no. And I'll self-validate, like, I get it. I know that sounds really fun and it'll be there later. And we're
Yeah,
going to do this instead.
this is so true. Yes, and we all have that inner child inside of us who's wants to be heard and seen and validated always. So yeah, acknowledge that. Talk to your inner child.
Yeah.
Explain. Yeah.
Part of the reason I invited you to share a little bit about both sides of the coin is a lot of the talk about boundaries is very much focused on the no.
Mhm.
And that is a big part of boundaries, but the no is always in service of a yes. And when you are like cognitively, physically, energetically connected to what your yes is,
Mhm.
the no is so much easier because
Mhm.
it's in support of the yes. And my kind of default example is being asked out by friends on a Sunday night.
Yeah. Mhm.
And if I'm not connected, so like if I don't want to go, it's because I'm a yes to staying in. But if I'm not connected to that yes, my no might come off as apologetic, like,
Mhm.
no, I'm so sorry. I really, I don't want to. And then like they might end up twisting my arm and being like, come on. And then you're like, okay. And you cave and you go and you
Yeah.
didn't want to. And that's self-abandonment.
Yeah.
Um, or your no might come off really abrasively, like, no, God, it's a Sunday night.
Right.
Whereas instead, if I'm like, if I receive the offer or the request or the invitation and I like consider it, and if I'm like, gosh, I'm really a yes to staying in, there's like a yes is generally a much more expansive energy
Yeah.
than
Mhm.
like than the energy of no.
Mhm.
And so if I'm connected to that, I can just be like, no, thank you, I'm good.
Yeah. And that's it. And you feel really great about it
Yeah.
too. Yeah. And it goes back to like trusting your intuition as to in honoring what you are wanting or needing in that point. And you will often feel expansive and light and joyful in when you're saying a yes, that's really in alignment with what your desires are. Um,
Yes.
yeah, and get into your body. I mean, I think I talk about this too a lot, is that I think people spend so much time like up in their head and ruminating and all of that when there's so much valuable information that our body is telling us all the time, all the time. So we need to just learn how to tune into the different sensations that our body is giving us as well.
Absolutely. I love saying that in my work with clients about developing healthy boundaries, that they walk away learning how to say no as easily as a joyful yes.
Yeah.
And I've developed the Gates method as like a tool to support that. And it's an acronym. What is it? Ground, assess, trust, express, and steward. But ground is the first one because grounding in your body and your values is like the foundational piece.
Hmm.
Getting into my body for me came much later in my personal development process. And, you know, because to your point, most of us live from the neck up, all very much in the head and the mind, which it's a great tool, but it's also really good at convincing us that it's the only tool we'll ever need. And I like to say the ego is kind of an attention whore. No disrespect to sex workers, but it really is. And the funny thing too, I often tell people when they're developing an embodiment practice is that you can't think about getting into your body because your mind will come up with all kinds of reasons. You don't need to leave me. Don't bring your attention out of the mind and into the body and abandon me. That's silly. You don't need to do that. That's pointless. It'll totally talk you out of it.
It
For an
is.
embodiment practice, you just have to do it. Just have to
Yeah.
decide and do it.
You just have to do it. Exactly. Because it's not something that you can intellectually, conjure up. Like you have to do it. You have to experience it. You have to be willing to sit in the sensations and to notice. Just notice. Like not trying to change or manipulate anything. Like the first step is just notice. Like is there tension somewhere? Are you feeling like warmth or pressure or pain anywhere? Just notice it. It's all giving you information and it's all connected to your intuition as well.
Absolutely. Um, for anyone listening who has no idea what we're talking about when we say get in the body and notice things, if you are very much in your head, you might be like how I was for many years, hearing people talking about this and almost just perceiving it as like not really a foreign language so much as like people describing a life on a different planet that I've never been to. I'm like, I don't understand what you're talking about. I'll just do a quick little exercise for anyone listening. Go ahead and bring your attention to whatever part of your body is connected to a seat or a bed or a floor. Maybe it's your bum or your backside if you're laying down, or your feet if you're walking, and just notice how, there's might be a little bit, you can feel a pressure, you can feel maybe some tingling or warmth or coolness even. Kind of feels like the cells there are being squished. There, you did it. You just got in your body. Like it's literally
Yeah.
that simple, but it builds from there. You can start to learn how to feel where emotions occur in your body and what the nature of those sensations are like. And you can start to learn different signals that your nervous system sends throughout your body. And it's on and on from there. There's a whole world of information that your body is signaling to all the time, but it's a language you have to learn how to um, experience and interpret. And the final thing I'll say about that too is that you can read an entire encyclopedia on swimming,
Mhm.
and none of it is really going to replace the experience of actually getting in the water.
So true. It's something that you just have to learn by doing.
Yep.
And the more you do it, the easier it gets. At first, it
Yes.
might feel a little foreign. It might take a bit more time to really tune in. Um, but it's a muscle that you build like anything else. And I'm at the point right now where I can drop into my body in a split second and do a scan. Didn't always used to be like that. I'm not saying that to brag at all by any sense, but I'm just to let you know the possibilities. Because for me, I wasn't explicitly taught this stuff as a kid. I wasn't explicitly shown how to do any of this. It's a skill that I self-taught in many ways and also connected with some really amazing mentors and teachers as well to help guide me and learn. But you can do it and it's never too late. Just don't say, I'm too old for this. This is too, like, you can do it. Anybody can learn how to do this stuff.
It's probably this, in terms of learning new languages, it's probably the simplest one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. And it is a language. Like
Uh-huh.
that's the thing. It is a language. It's communicating to you all of the time. All of
Yes.
the time. Yes.
It's
And
just it communicates in a very different language than the mind. The mind uses
Mhm.
words and frameworks and, logic. The mind is very like structured and linear. I like to say that the mind is great at comprehending and the body knows. The body is
Yeah.
where we really know things. And the mind's a wonderful tool for problem solving and analyzing. But I think it's important to let your body be the one that makes decisions for you.
Yeah, I agree with that because your body does know. And, working in energy work and Reiki and energy healing too, it's also like really helpful too because you can sense energy in different parts of your body. And that's another piece of the language is that you can, with practice, notice when there's blockages or you feel fantastic when there's good flow. So everything is interconnected and one is not better or worse than the other. It's all here to support you and it just add to your toolbox. I mean, that's what I've been doing. That's what I want to keep doing. And I love this stuff. And I love that I'm going to be a student for the rest of my life. I'm going to keep learning new skills and techniques and things. And I think that's just a beautiful part of life. And that we all have the ability to build up our toolboxes.
Absolutely. Well, this has been really delightful. Thank you so much, Laura. Will you give our listeners just another reminder of the best place to find you?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mariah. I've really enjoyed this conversation today. Yeah, so you could find me on my website, which is lauraflowersllc.com. My Facebook is Laura Flowers LLC, and my Instagram is Laura Jane 23. And again, I just want to give a little plug for my retreat coming up in October in Brattleboro, Vermont. If you are feeling called to attend, I would absolutely love to see you there as well.
Fantastic. And for everyone listening, I also just want to encourage anyone even possibly considering getting any sort of coaching support. I know the holidays aren't like super close just yet, but they are coming. And for a lot of us, that means a crushing weight of expectations and obligations. So laying the foundation for healthy boundaries or any sort of healthy living or intuition before you need it is definitely an advantage. So I wouldn't wait too long to act on this curiosity. Either of us are available for a free discovery call, no pressure, and I'm sure we can just provide resources, if nothing else. If it doesn't lead to working directly with us, it'll be a conversation worthwhile, I'm sure. So thank you again, Laura. It has been a delight.
Thank you so much, Mariah.
And thank you, dear listeners, for tuning in. Please check Laura out. I've left her information in the show notes. And if you would like to look into working with me, please go to explorelovingboundaries.com. You can grab a spot on my calendar for a free call. Wherever you are on your journey, I send you love and courage. Namaste.